I'm looking forward to all playing today. It's been a minute since I've done one of these classes. Anxious to hear you all again. Michelle, I think you're playing the consolation, of course.
Sorry?
You're playing the consolation.
Yes, I am.
Tim, are you doing your gratis?
Which?
Are you doing WC?
Yeah.
David, what do you play? Bach. Oh, which one?
Yeah, two-part invention.
Okay.
The Haydn Sonata in D major?
Ah, yes.
Yes.
Playing a simplified version of Moonlight Sonata.
Okay.
And Bach 13.
Okay. Part of me wants to move this piano this way, so the sound comes at you more this way.
It's doable.
So, is this yours, or whose is this?
That's 10.
Okay, I'm just going to set this here for a second. I'm sure it's fine, but I hate to. There we go. Do you want to move it back over there?
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
Alrighty. Who is chomping at the bit to perform first today?
I can go.
at this point feels like your next thing to master within it?
Oh, well, so my big Achilles heel is kind of keeping with the tempo. So I've been trying to, because I haven't been used to counting, because as a dancer, somebody else usually would count for you.
Oh.
So I've been kind of lazy with that. So I've been trying to kind of master that. So probably tempo and kind of rhythm is more,
Okay.
yeah.
I would certainly agree with, I think mastering the rhythm, how the right hand works in tandem with the left hand,
Right,
or
right.
how it floats on top of
Right.
the left hand, is at this point kind of a rhythmic thing to sort through. And that, of course, then affects the
Right.
pulse or the counting of the tempo,
Right,
right?
right.
Because if that piece of it doesn't feel confident, then everything else sort of can feel less stable. So for me, it's, this piece, if you kind of heard, there's the left hand triplet situation, accompaniment pattern that the whole piece floats on top of. But then the right hand has different rhythms, right? Sometimes it's eighth notes that
Right.
get subdivided into those left hand triplets,
Right.
or 16th notes
Right,
have different,
right,
right? And I think just settling on getting that worked out, and even perfectly, like mathematically, will help you a lot, especially the
Okay.
2 against 3.
Okay.
So I want to work on some 2 against 3 practice strategies with you. Let's take, for instance, this I think is the best place to do it, but it also
Okay.
comes. Is there another spot where it happens? Yeah, it's this one here too. Okay, so since this is on the same page, let's do the. Where was it? Is this the only time it happens? No, it's A major, right here. Yeah, okay, sorry. Okay, so in this case, right hand's got thirds, double thirds, in an eighth note pattern against the left hand triplets. So 2 against 3, right? Now to master this, I wouldn't try to just start, like, it's 2 measures of it. I wouldn't just do those 2 measures to solve this problem. What I would do is take one beat in particular and just make sure that that lines up the way it needs to. Okay? So what I would do is probably take just the last beat of this, the second measure, and just cross over the bar line to the downbeat. So what do we have here? Yeah. So we connect to
For
that.
this one?
So just doing this
okay.
right here. So
Okay,
just that much.
got it.
So what we're listening for is this second one here to be halfway between that. So can we just get that part of it first? Yep. So it could be E in your left hand. Yeah.
Oh, we're doing this.
Yeah,
this is
just the,
second.
what is it, the fourth beat of that measure. This is going to be probably 1 4. Play your left hand for there for a second. Start here for a second. I just want to look at your, yeah, I think that's the finger you're using. Yeah. Okay, so pause for just a second. This is a really tricky spot to start, right? Because you probably have never played there before, right?
No.
So one of my strategies with practicing something that sort of compounds is to start right at the end. Right apart, have different starting spots. Mentally it's challenging, just like right now. What fingering did I use there? Where's my hand? Our brain, if we don't start in different spots, only can start in one spot, right? So that's a habit. That's what we've sort of trained it to do. So while it might be painful to start in different spots, it's really important to do it. You just, you become more adaptable, and you can react a little bit differently in the performance if something doesn't go quite.
And you know the piece better.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So can we go? Just that again. So I would think four. Let me think. Yes, exactly. Yes. Good. Now can you back up to beat 3 and do that? So left hand, one octave lower though. Yes, because sometimes I hear a little bit like the second half,
Oh,
a
yeah.
little bit this
Too
the descending piece of it, that part, and then that is too fast. Play just your right hand. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Yeah, do that. And if you're not comfortable counting out loud, count inside your head. Good. Now just put the left hand, just the half notes with it. Leave all this accompaniment figure out. Just play the low A here and the low A here. Leave
Okay.
these.
Just the right, or
Yeah,
the both
that
ends?
with the right hand. No, leave that out. So you're just playing this.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Good. And then here, just if we can add that onto it, that change. Drop that half step left hand. There you go. Yeah, exactly. Okay. So I would always start your practicing with this by starting at the end. What I kind of had you do. It feels uncomfortable, but it's really important to get there. Another practice strategy I had for you. And do you have access to like a keyboard that you could record?
Yes,
Like, do
yes.
you have a keyboard that you practice?
Yes, I have a digital and a.
Okay, so I would actually encourage you to record your left hand on the digital. You can still practice your right hand on the digital, but you have a recording mechanism,
Right,
right?
yeah.
You have a way to record it. So your left hand stays steady, and then your right hand works with that. It's going to help your ear
Okay.
with it, right? Because you're going to be doing some of the motion. Of course, it's not coordinated. That will come, but just pick a section, 8 measures, especially the
Okay.
ones where you have the
Right, yeah, I know which ones.
like these
Yeah,
things,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
Maybe like from here
Yeah.
through here. You record the left hand,
Okay.
and then right hand play along with it, and really listen that the 8th notes are evenly divided within the beat, and then the 16th notes divided in the beat. I did that with a piece that had something similar, right? It was like 5 against 7 or something strange. Really.
Yeah, so I've been practicing with, together and, that type of thing. But it doesn't, I don't do it consistently, even though I practice it, it just doesn't feel like it's consistent.
For me, I sense that you're probably doing all the right steps with the practicing. It's more about, are you aware of what the perfect repetition is, right? You know those adage, perfect practice makes perfect, right? So what's your goal in that, when you're doing your repetitions, what is your goal? What are you trying to get? And don't settle for anything less than that, right? And if we do too many repetitions at a time, in a row, what do we end up doing? What is our
Right, we lose it.
It starts wandering, right?
Yeah.
We start thinking about something else. So then, like, the time that you're spending on it is probably not as productive as what it could be. Lost my train of thought. Help me out. What did I say?
So hearing.
Oh yes, it's a hearing thing. I think it's a but being aware of exactly the sound that you're after, rather than like the technical kind of knowing how it works. Because if you know in your ear, our body has a wonderful way of making it work physically.
Okay, yeah, because I have a tendency not to count. I mean, I try to, but I try to kind of follow my
Yes,
ear.
let your counting be your like drill sergeant.
Right,
Like,
okay.
everyone in line. This is
Right.
the way it has to be.
Right.
Now, of course, we will not necessarily perform it that way, but that baseline has to be there for any sort of flexibility to make sense
Okay.
in the context of it all. Yeah. I'll even do things. Will you stand up a second? I can demonstrate. So for this is the 3 against 4. I would practice things like, but just so maybe you all can see very quickly. We got hold on. We got that hand shoulders and 16 notes. So I'm just going to demonstrate how I might practice this to really feel the pulse. I will tell you what I'm going to do. You all can have a picture in your mind of what I'm going to do. You don't need to know everything. When I'm putting it hands together. What did I do? I stopped the left hand, right? Because if my left hand had continued putting the 3 in the left hand against the 4 divisions in the right hand, would have sort of, that's what I'm trying to work out, right? But what is this doing for my ear? It's allowing my ear to really listen to that right hand.
The right hand.
Even though there's still the harmony
Got it.
going on. And I would even count 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1. You want to try that?
Yeah.
So come after the C flat.
Okay.
Yeah, and so it forces you to learn the piece on it. That's right, yeah. Then the next step would be, like you stand up a second. After you've done that a few times and have been accurate with it, right? Then go. I added what's happening up
Got it.
before, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Then the other
Okay,
part piece of
okay.
that might be to reverse those roles. Keep the left hand going, right hand just play what's on beat 4, where the hands line up, and what's on beat 1 of the next measure. So you know you're getting there, right? What does smorzando mean?
So what I understand, it's you kind of go into it fading away.
Yeah, it
Right,
dies
so-
away, right?
Right, dies away. Yeah.
So all of a sudden you disappeared out of the crowd.
I'm sneaky. I like your shirt.
Thank you. Yeah, so I sensed a growing there actually in your
Oh,
playing.
right,
Yeah.
okay.
So in the last, what is this? 6 measures from the end, there's a smorzando marked in. In order for that to be effective, we actually need to think about it beforehand, right? So a few measures before, so we set it up in a way that it can then die away, right? So what does that mean? In this case, I think here, that's such a like delicious chord, right? So I think this needs to be bigger. And it can fade out. And just keep this as soft. piano that Liszt would have played on would have faded. The decay would have been much quicker. So I'm not sure that Liszt would have ever wanted something like this. Right? There's something not satisfying about that, right? What I'm talking about here is this has this long pedal all the way to the end. Notice where the release mark is? The release mark is after the resolution. So we have tension and that resolution, but it's all in the same pedal. In order for that to work for our ear, on the modern piano, we've got to play with it. So you want to give that a shot? That's the last thing we do.
Yeah.
So maybe wherever you can get into it, if you could start here, or if you can be bigger there, and then everything after this first part. Yeah, right here. Just like play it with a little bit more. Yeah. Oh, yes, a little more balance. Yeah. And now I noticed you do have a, sorry, I'm not here to point out your bad
No, that's fine. I have bad habits. I have a lot of bad habits in the piano. I know that. No problem.
The habit I want to point out here is that when that one hand isn't playing, it goes to the left.
Oh, it's not. It's a bad habit.
So
Okay.
right here, what happened is her left hand had to play this D flat, and so it came from her lap and went and played it. If you do that, you let your hand travel that distance and then just go play the note, you lose
Got it.
control of it,
Okay,
right?
got it.
If you're just resting on it, you have much more control of the color and the quality of sounding. And we want something real nice and soft here.
Okay.
Let's try that one more time from here. Keep the pedal the whole time. Touch the D flat. Slightly lift it, just slightly. Yeah, there you released it all. The other way to look at it is if you can have a visual into the the dampers. So it's kind of dark here, but if you can you see them dropping slightly? Just let them drop slightly. Don't let them get all the way down. That they
Okay.
absorb the sound. But anyway, those are some things to think about.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, I just hear this rhythm I'm hearing in the two against three instead of.
One and
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why initially I brought up that.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So
Thank
it's
you.
part of knowing what you want to hear.
Yeah.
Will be
Okay.
helpful.
Sounds good. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Who would like to go next?
I'll go. Do you want this or?
Sure.
so much detail in this thing.
I know, right? So this is Dr. Gratis ad Parnassum from Debussy's Children's Corner, right?
Right.
So Gratis ad Parnassum is steps to
That's-
Parnassus, right? To
Scaling Mount Parnassus.
Exactly, right? So in the context of piano, this is sort of poking fun of, I can imagine Debussy as a child being forced to practice his hand and exercises, all of these exercises that are
That's the
supposed
Clementi
to take you.
version of this.
Exactly, yeah. Yep, exactly. And, you know, and just sort of the mundaneness of it, but then all of a sudden Debussy takes it to another place, right? And so there's some humor in the piece that, you know, you want to play with that sort of character in mind. So it kind of makes the piece a little bit more sense if you think about it in that context, right? I notice, you know, it's back, like Clementi's Gratis ad Parnassum. Back in that time, everything was about, because of the piano and the way it was evolving and being developed, everything was about fingertip and developing the fingers, right? So a lot of that technique was built from the wrist forward, right? No one was really talking about arm weight, no one was talking about the entire use of the body. Maybe to some extent, but generally speaking, the piano of that time did not require more, more weight, more muscle, more force, all of that sort of thing, to create the sounds that the instrument demanded. So that, in a way, one could say maybe this piece should be played like that. But I think because of you playing it on something like this, on the modern piano, of course, I think we do need to consider more bringing the technique further, all the way, you know, through your whole body. But the reason I bring this up, Tim, is because I do notice that you're playing this a lot with a low wrist.
Oh, I didn't notice.
Yeah. Where did I know? Oh, here. This part. These 4 measures
Oh,
here.
okay.
And I want to see if we can maybe change the ease with which you're playing it. Bring in some more ease by lifting the wrist slightly so that your forearm and your wrist are more level. So there's not a break in the wrist. Yeah, you might need to be a little higher for that.
Well, this is as high as it goes.
Okay, so let's start from the beginning of the piece again. Don't worry about pushing tempo. What I want you to focus on is that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of finger motion. Yeah, and I think you're always going to see some of that, right? Is the wrist still, does it look flat?
Not relaxed. You need to be more relaxed, maybe. It seems a bit
It's
tense.
locking in a little bit, yeah. Yeah, over.
It's not moving as much to the side as it should.
Yeah, I still think the wrist is a little low. And the reason I bring it up is because even with young students, I sense that if there's one finger that you think about creating the handshake you want, what finger might that be? What one finger, the way we play it, determines our entire handshake?
Third.
Or where we hold our forward. Our thumb. Our thumb. So, Tim, I want you to just play your right hand here, and every time you play your thumb, I want you to pause and ask yourself if you played it at this angle or if it was at this angle.
Okay.
So, generally think thumb 45-degree angle into the key rather than parallel. So can you a little bit more?
Felt harder, actually.
Yeah, it probably will, right? It's not the habit you've
It
done.
didn't look harder when it looked like you were playing with these.
It looks easier.
Yes. Yeah.
For what it's worth. It
Well,
looked very-
I'm much more conscious of the black keys, and that's part of it.
The way you're moving.
Because I'm
looks
afraid I'm gonna, drag one of them down.
bigger.
So much of this piece though is that, singing kind of tone where your flat fingers really help in making that tone as opposed to this. How do you do both? Keep, what I'm talking about, this tends to make a harsh sound, this tends to make.
Well, I would argue though in this case that because it's mimicking like a Clementi, the Clementi exercises, is that we would want something a little bit more articulate. So I wouldn't, maybe in the middle section things flatten out,
Yeah.
they melt a little bit,
Yeah.
they're not as
Right,
rigid.
right.
Like these are your exercises, and you've done this like, right? But then it comes back to it. So I think at this point in the piece, I would prefer it to be a little bit more articulate rather than. But you bring up a great point because it is that exercise.
Do you think part of it is just moving it away
Moving your thumb away.
rather than kind of reaching for the whole thing,
Part of it is, yeah.
swiveling from the wrist?
Okay. Do you bring that up because you practiced it that way? Like the
I've been
groupings?
thinking
like clustering?
about it that way.
Uh-huh. So I think what Tim is getting at here is this whole idea of clustering, or sometimes you may call it chunking, blocking, where you have some running notes, whatever falls underneath the hand in one position, you play them together and you make a position. So
Actually,
in this case,
that's not the point I was making. The point I was making was having my arm behind.
there, I think of another side of the coin. If you practice that way, the thumb can end up being locked in if you have more spread positions like this. But yes, release your thumb. Okay. I guess if you do the blocking, you're always going to know where you need to be. But when practicing blocked, you can get locked in. So there is a conscious effort that's needed to release the thumb out of those positions. Because if you try to hold your thumb, it requires energy, right? It's got to come from somewhere to stay there. And that's gonna bring in some tension. The other thing to think about with our hand alignment, so I'm talking about bringing the technique back further in the hand. Every key that we play, generally speaking, if we slow everything down, our arm should be aligned with that finger. So right now, based on my alignment, what finger am I thinking about playing? 2. Okay, what about now? 3. Right? So there's just a little bit of, we don't want so much of this and so much of this. But just when you practice slowly, if you can think about your forearm alignment here. So in this case, Tim, it's when you get up to 4, don't go out of alignment so much. Yeah. I'm wondering, can you practice this up here? Okay, on the first one you did a good job of getting behind 4, but I didn't see it on the second one. There you go. Try to not reach for those, especially when you practice slowly. Follow that route that your forearm will take.
You said don't reach. What was I doing? I did
Like reaching. Where was it? Like up to here.
Oh.
Just let your arm get you there. Let your arm get you there. Yes. And if that feels strange, repeat the pattern a few times. What's after it? Back over. Good. Stand over here. Especially when you come back over. Yes. So we all know, like, under, generally when we ascend in our right hand, we kind of come over those arm circle techniques. So when his thumb comes out, when his hand comes back over, it's natural for your thumb to do that. Okay, so don't let it drop so much.
Thanks, Spanish.
Yeah.
When you're out, like, when he's playing like that upper range, how is he keeping the alignment of the fingers? Like, that's always, like, do you shift your body?
Yes.
Do you-
Yeah. Yeah. Try to keep your elbow out as much. I mean, composers will do things to challenge us, right? Like things like this or like this. Even the beginning of this, you're getting ahead of me actually.
Oh, sorry.
So no, I'm glad you brought it up.
Lean a little bit.
Yes, so I was going to ask, why did I ask, it's not written to be played up 2 octaves. Why did I ask him to play it up 2 octaves? Because this, right in front of you, is confining any sort of forearm movement that you have. If you have a piece where you feel confined, just move it to another octave and practice it there. And that can unlock some of the feelings that you need here. And then, of course, to accomplish that, though, you do need to shift your weight slightly and just lean over. If I were going to stand up, it's second tempo. If I were playing this, I would definitely start it like this. See how far I shifted over? All of my weight is on my left. So I think you can shift over more.
Okay.
Lean over more.
Yeah, lean over.
So we have to become comfortable with our body weight going into either our right leg or our left leg, not just. See, I still think you can be over.
Farther?
Yep, even more. Yep, even more. Tip off the bench. Even more. So when I said corner of a thumb, I saw your elbow creeping out a bit. So you're trying to do adjustments at pushing the tempo that you're the most comfortable with. So with anytime you practice building in technique, it needs to be done slowly. It's hard. Not because we don't necessarily understand, but we have to. It takes so many reiterations, repetitions of it to get done. Awesome. Okay, just a couple thoughts here at the end. I would keep this strong here. Don't back off there.
Okay.
Let's see. Got it.
I didn't get as much fortune as I expected.
This. Play it with purpose, and then yeah. Can you play from here to the end? It never sounds as loud right here in this space because so much of it. Yeah. So you're playing louder than what you think you are.
Okay.
Yeah. Good. All right. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
This one. So bringing a copy. I came about it via a Christmas carol that had sort of weaved it, an arrangement that had weaved it, and I forget, maybe I don't know what the carol was, but then when I saw when I was introduced to the original, I was like, you want me to trill for how long?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And I just want to commend you on the trills, because I think they sound great.
Thank you.
Yeah, especially the left-hand one.
I got there forever. To get it.
To get it, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Well, what are you doing? I have ideas of what I think you're doing, but tell me.
On this, on the trills?
Yeah, your
Well,
left hand. How did you get it so the way you wanted
The
it?
two things I had to do is I had to bring my arm in so that my rotation was more even between the two notes, as opposed to, it's hard to do. And then, I don't know if you can see these little squiggles. I didn't want you to see my squiggles.
Oh, is that why you thought it was good?
But,
Just kidding.
but that tells me to move my hand in and out while I'm trilling.
There's this motion. Why are you doing it?
Well, I thought on the internet.
It's Graham Fitch
Yeah,
said
Fitch
to
said
do
to do it.
Who said
it.
that?
Graham Fitch.
Oh, wow. Have I ever told you?
No. Well, actually, yes, you have.
Maybe in different contexts,
Yeah,
right? It's a big part of.
It's a big part of not getting stiff.
Yeah, exactly. That's the entire reason that you don't get locked in. So, yeah, whenever you have something that repeats, call it like the walking arm. Your arms going in and out motion. Great. The left hand also, I felt like did not overpower the right hand. It was just there. And in fact, I couldn't even tell how fast your left hand was going.
Good. Because it wasn't all that fast.
But from a pure impression standpoint, the left hand sounded yeah. And no one was like, wow, he's struggling with that. Like you didn't bring light to the fact that that was technically probably the most challenging measures of the piece. Bravo. That's great. Right here, I noticed you stumbled.
Yeah.
But was it a fingering thing?
I don't know at that point. I don't normally stumble there, so
I
it's
suspect you
out of
didn't
the
get
blue.
4 there.
Yeah, that's why it's purple.
Yeah. So,
And
and I bring
water.
that up because fingering is such an important part, right? We're building habits, we're building muscle memory. If we don't use the same finger on the notes every time we play them, what's the point in building muscle in pieces you're going to perform? Sight reading, that's a different story.
But that's why it's in big bold purple
Mhm.
for that 4.
Can we? Because every other time your left hand has played it, you've never had the issue of the 5th note being a black key. So you would start with 5.
Right.
In this case, you're starting with 4 because that 5th note is a C sharp.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Can we? I don't know. Where's an easy place for you to start?
Probably anywhere
Can
here.
you start here?
I'm sorry.
It might be that you think you're in F major there.
Yeah, it could easily be. I mean, could be that I think I'm in Dudley Hall with 8 people watching.
Well, why would I say you think you're in F major? Because I saw you do this.
Yeah.
Right. And it starts on an F, right?
Right.
Every other. This one's in G. Where's the other one? There's more.
They're
all over the place,
up
right?
here, yeah.
Yeah, and they always start on the key they're
Right,
in.
correct.
Okay, so that's another part of the problem.
There you go.
So what could you think of here? Oops. Instead of
that, I don't think I can do it another way.
no. In terms of instead of it being an F major,
Oh,
what key could you think of here? Right, this is one of those things that needs a footnote. It starts on an F, but it's not an F major.
I totally get what you're talking about, but I don't think in keys like that when I'm playing. Yeah,
Yeah,
that doesn't.
it's starting on the 3rd scale degree of D
Yeah,
minor.
yeah, I get it. Yeah, I get it. I understand. Intellectually, I get what you get, but when I'm trying to figure stuff out, I don't go there. I wish I could. You could put that in some of our classwork, but.
Well, if you're not doing that while you play, I think you have to purposely put it in there. And the way I would do that is probably, you stand up a second. I might just start 2 measures before and then stop and say this is
Yeah.
not F major. We got a B natural. It's really D minor. Thinking about it, giving your
Gotcha.
yeah, say it out loud. That
Okay.
sort of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I literally have to do that type of stuff myself when I'm practicing. I'm starting here and I'm ending there. That's this scale. Okay, now do it.
Well, I wish I could do that because it would make sight reading go a lot better if I can.
Why can't you do that?
Because I don't know that much music theory to have it in the front part of my brain that's
Oh.
connected.
Well, okay, so what is this one here? I'm in this measure right here.
This one?
Right here, this one. This that subject, right? It's in what
Starts
key
with-
here? Sorry, I'm missing B
minor?
flat. B flat. Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of like this one, right? So the beginning subject is here. It started on where are we? F.
Mhm.
This was F major. And this is F star. Right? But it starts on what scale degree of F major?
Third.
Third, yeah. Those things can be helpful as well.
I would love to have lessons in that, but I don't know how to learn that on my own.
I'll teach you something over coffee.
Thank you.
But I think I bring it up because not because you can't do it, but you can. It's more about creating the time.
Well, I
And-
understand, but
and-
specifically for me, I don't memorize stuff. So
Yeah.
I need to be able to read, and if there's tricks
Yeah.
like that that put me in the right place automatically, that would be very helpful, but.
What if you took this and you circled each of the subjects and you gave it a key center as
Yeah.
just a starting point.
Okay.
Like this one, for instance. What key is that in?
Well, that one, well, it's, we're in F, but we're starting on D, so
Right,
it's
so
probably D minor.
D minor, right? Yeah. That's the D minor. Here's the D minor. Circle every one of those subjects
Okay,
wherever they happen. Here, this one's an F major.
okay.
Here, what's this one in?
We're starting here?
Right here, yeah.
Well, so that's a continuous scale that's
It
starting
is.
back over here at C.
But if I hide this, that's the subject again, isn't it?
Well, I guess, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yes, it is. It's this transposed up, what, fourth or fifth?
Fifth, right?
Fifth,
So what's the starting note?
D, E, F, G,
This
A.
starting right? Yeah, A, right? A.
Yeah, so
So
A.
that's A minor.
Minor, okay.
Yeah. So knowing that's A minor. will
But there's
be-
a sharp there. So
Yeah, well, there's a
that's-
sharp here too.
Okay. So that's not A minor.
That's D, yeah, D. So what this is taking, do you know your harmonic scales?
No.
So the opening of this, just briefly, is the harmonic scale. Scale degree in A minor. There's your 7th scale degree, and that's why
Okay.
it's a G sharp.
Okay.
Yeah. Ask Tuche about some of these things.
She'll answer them. Yeah, I've never really learned the minor scales well at all.
Okay.
So
Well, even if you just know them
I know that.
conceptually, you don't need to play them at, at a fast tempo,
Oh.
just to be able to understand how they're built.
Okay.
Yeah.
David, my books have them like in the back. I could just like photocopy them.
Oh, I have a whole book on
Okay.
scales.
I was
The
like-
first year or two we did this, I did a bunch of them, but I never got as far as, I mean, I did the harmonic and the melodic and all that, but it just kind of,
Wherever you can highlight every point in the piece where you see this figure.
okay, I will do that.
Not just in D, but the different
All the way
keys that
through.
it's in. Right there would be
Yeah,
another
yeah,
highlight.
yeah.
Here's a.
Okay.
and then it's
Yeah,
kind of
that
hidden,
makes-
not really so much there. It's
It's
altered
there.
here.
Yeah.
Here it is.
Yep,
Here it is.
yep.
And then can you label it? What key or what scale is being used there?
Yes, because I have Chord Finder
There you go.
in my phone. Boom, that's what it is. You know what I'm talking about?
No, But I'm scared that you're going to tell me you're finding it by your phone.
I am. Let's see, where are you, chord finder? So let me clear what I have in here right now. Clear. So pick one.
Oh, interesting. Okay, let's do this one here.
Okay.
Let's zoom in.
All right,
This.
so the chord would be.
But does it do scales though? Because this.
No,
Oh,
no.
well, that's your problem. You can't use it then. Because they're scales.
You looked at it.
I know I did. Yes. And if you can identify those scales and then practice those scales. So it's not like you're doing every single harmonic scale, but you're just doing the ones that are featured in here.
But you're breaking it up because I mean this is a scale starting on C and going up here. But you're telling me to look here where it crosses the bar line
Yep.
and now see that it's an A.
Yep.
Is that because it ends in that bar? That
No, I'm putting this together because Bach told me to. Right there.
okay.
He has a wonderful way of hiding these subjects throughout the piece and then doing different things with them where he can flip them upside down, right? But yes, of course, when we first get to it, it's not specifically in A minor,
Right.
but this is really getting us to A minor. It's getting us there, right? If this measure you would say is in F major, right?
Okay. Yes.
Because of this.
Yes.
And then we turn a corner, right? Just knowing that this is going to lead us to A minor will be helpful.
Okay. Okay.
I know that's a lot to absorb, but good
I'd
work.
love to learn it.
Yeah. Okay. Let's keep talking.
I need to prepare.
Oh, it's okay. No need for a fresh.
Or you want your own
You
recording?
know it's recorded, right?
Yeah, but I need to send the teacher.
Do you want video?
Yeah.
Here, let's do. May I touch it? May I?
Yeah, of course.
Let's do this.
I can hold it.
No, I think that would work. Sorry,
There.
engineer.
You are front and center.
Thank you.
Do you want me to stop?
No, include it.
All right. Hey, bravo. It was such facility and excitement.
Thank you.
It's great. It's great.
Yeah.
Is this new for you, or had you played this in the past?
No, this is started November last
Okay,
year.
bravo.
New still.
Well, I think you're doing so many things great.
Yes.
Briefly, because I'm not using my time wisely today. For everyone.
It's okay.
I noticed you played it with such ease,
Yeah.
right? When we get to here, though, I don't sense that you have as much ease, and it's the same figure.
Ah, that's right. That's right. Yes,
Right?
Yes.
So we have to sort of reconcile, like, wait, what's going on here that's making this come across as not being played with as much ease, even though it's the same figure here. So what's different about this versus this section?
I wanted to make it some contrast.
Okay.
So starting from here now.
Yeah. But just that, when you play that, it sounded easy.
Oh.
When you got here, it sounded hard.
I see. Maybe I don't remember.
So in the class,
okay.
in the piece, there's this moment. Oops. That figure keeps repeating in different spots, right? And then all of a sudden he introduces this, and then does the figure again, and then again. It's when that new idea gets introduced and goes back, and then the new one, that alternate,
Yeah.
that it felt like it was a little harder for her to execute that. So this is the, when it's easy. Now, why might that be harder than the other?
I see.
It's going into it, right? There's something right before it. So what we want to think about is how we're exiting
I
this
see.
to execute this. So
Okay.
can you just play this part here?
Okay,
Just
okay.
these three measures, or two measures, and then stop
Yeah.
for a second. Now, have you noticed how at the beginning of each of those figures, her hand kind of dropped into the key, right? It's kind of free fall, right? Can you do that again so we can see that a little? Okay, so
Yes.
good. All right, now can we pick it up here?
Here. Okay.
Let's see if she has that same fall.
Okay.
You got one more. Bum, bum, bum. It happens again. Yeah. Is there a fall there?
Is that a slur going into that?
Da,
Da, da, da, da, da.
yeah, there's a two-note
Yeah,
slur before.
staccato slur. Yeah.
Yes, play just the radio.
Because that would be an opportunity to lift.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So
maybe
you just
this,
did it,
yeah.
right? So
Right?
the way you leave that two-note slur here gets you off the key so that you then can drop into
Okay.
it. Off. You're
I
going
should
to.
do that.
Did you use? What finger did you use here? Okay, then why not here?
Outside the number 4.
Now go back to your whole finger.
This is old.
Does that feel easier?
I see.
There you go. That's right. Yeah. So get out of it.
Oh,
Get
okay.
out of this so that you can drop into there. Off. Yep.
Oh,
Or-
okay.
Yep. Off. Yes.
Oh, that's right. I get it.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah. That will make that easier there.
Got it. Thank you.
It's kind of like articulations. We really want to be like enunciating words, right? We need to make sure that all the letters are there in our pronunciations. In this case, make sure all the articulations
Yes.
are there, and working out those gestures
Got
can
it.
help there. Here, just be careful. This is one rather than. Oops.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. I think I composed.
Yes, you did a little bit. And it sounds like you're putting a little bit of hesitation before the bum 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 bum.
Okay, okay, okay.
So can we start here? Yep. A. There you go.
Okay. Got it.
And then the same thing happened at the end. But
The end,
that's what,
yeah.
yeah. Technically, are there measures that make you nervous as you're playing? More than others?
Major? D major?
Measures?
Majors?
Is there a spot in the piece? Which part of the letter? You are right.
Maybe here.
Here?
Here. Here.
Yeah.
And then also. That's hard.
What finger are you using? No, not to left.
The.
Right. That's why you're nervous about it. That's daring. I want to tell you a secret. I would not use that finger.
Yeah, so I tried to find out the better fingering.
Have you tried different fingering?
I couldn't think of.
Oh, well, let's.
I need
let's
help.
Take just a moment here.
Yeah.
Stand up a second.
Here, right?
Two, probably.
Yeah. 2,
5, 2,
Okay.
4, 1, 2, 5, 2, 4, 1. Do you have a pencil? Does anyone have a pencil?
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Who would like to?
So, I'm gonna do first page.
Okay.
Slowly, so there's
We're good.
okay.
Alright, so this is another Bach convention, right? In A minor this time. Many of the same things that I was mentioning to David are applicable to this, right? The one David played, the subject was in a scalar passage, right? This one is more of a broken triad, so you could use the chord predictor or whatever it was. Yeah, chord. For this one, it's out of luck. Maybe you need to change it to this one.
I want to copy the app.
But yes, so in this case, knowing exactly what triad is being outlined at that moment is really helpful as well. I'm curious, in the evolution of your learning of this piece, what has sort of been a challenge for you?
The fingering's been a challenge. Like we were still changing the fingering a little bit yesterday, so that was kind of tough. And then the dynamics are kind of hard. So Tuche's constantly on me, so it's not hard to like play louder.
Okay.
And the thing is when I play more loudly, it feels harsh. And then the other part is I think the way that I've kind of been learning is like measure by measure. So like when I put the measures together, they are not. You hear the breaks.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's adjust a couple of those things. Sound, and then your fluency, right? Okay, so sound for me in this space, especially where you're in the learning stages of this, I wouldn't worry so much about being too harsh.
Okay.
It's not harsh, right? I'll tell you if it's harsh.
Okay.
It's not harsh. So I think you can play with a little bit more, getting to the bottom of the keys.
Okay.
Don't worry about, not getting a sound that's beautiful. I think your approach is not going to allow that. So that one was easy. Let's talk about the fluency thing then. So she's talked about practicing measure by measure. Who here does that sort of thing? I do. Yeah. Is there anything that you do in addition to just that measure?
You're supposed to do the first note of the next measure?
At least the first note, right? I even do the first beat of the next measure. So whenever I'm practicing measure by measure, I always practice from here. And even if I'm just doing the first measure, I stop like here.
Okay.
Yeah. Or even like halfway through the measure.
Okay.
And then when I practice the second measure, I start here. So there's always an overlap, right? Is that the way you've been doing it?
No, I've been going just like for this one. Once I get to the D, I'll play the B.
Okay.
And then that's where I stop. So.
Yeah, so feeling that this F connects to this is
Yes.
the piece that's missing, and that's where the hesitations are
Yeah.
arising with it. Yeah. So, in any of your practicing moving forward, always overlap. Just think about, I need to overlap some way so that I don't ever create those mental gaps.
Will that help with learning to trust yourself? Because
I don't trust myself. You
yeah,
can see
almost
it.
every time you hesitated, you stopped on the right note and you just repeated that note.
Yeah.
It's trusting yourself. Yeah.
Well, we perform the way we practice, right?
You
Yeah.
can see where I stop, like every
Yeah.
time.
Hey, you know, you unearthed something today. That's great.
So-
Yeah. Any questions for me?
Let's see. I guess the only thing I'm wondering, just it was we started talking a little bit about it yesterday, but sort of like the arc of the piece. So I know this part is the big part, and then the end. But is whatever like in this section, is there something that like is there a master phrase that goes through it, or should it be thinking in terms of just the phrase lines that are here? Is it
I would
just smaller?
think about the phrase lines that are there really
Okay.
more than anything. Here's a cadence point, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I would drive to that cadence. I know there's a diminuendo here, but I don't know that I agree with that. This wouldn't have been box marking. This is editorial.
Okay.
Someone came in and added it.
Okay.
So in Baroque music, I think of like an interpretation principle is go to the cadence point rather than to that cadential 6/4 chord that we get in classical music that then decays into a nice resolution. In this case, I like to go to the end with Baroque music, go to the ends of the phrases. So that's why I'm saying I don't necessarily agree with this diminuendo here.
Okay.
So stand up a second. I probably demonstrated this slightly. So this is what I mean here. Rather than something like. It's going to, of course, depend on.
So do we take this out, right? And
I
then
would,
just
yeah.
drop to that. Okay.
And then maybe drop here.
Through this, right? Okay.
Yeah. It's going to, of course, depend on the aesthetic of the piece. Baroque music tends to have the same thing. Right? Classical music, we get these two ideas that get juxtaposed against each other. So, yeah, keep it a little bit more consistent throughout. I wouldn't worry so much about the arc of the piece at this point.
Okay.
I would worry about just, let's get these notes confidently in my fingers.
fingers, okay.
Yeah. And I'm just saying, like, don't invite something else to think about. Focus on this task at hand first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
And that, once you're more comfortable with that, then the other part will come.
Okay.
Right? And if you're thinking about it as you practice, like, hey, what is this harmony telling me in context of what's coming next? That can inform you as well.
Okay.
Good work.
Thank you.
So, Moonlight Sonata.
A simple version.
Yeah. The theme. Yeah. Are you playing with music? Are you playing with music?
Yeah, I can't. I haven't memorized it, but it's
No, I can look over your sheet. So you know the original, right?
Yeah.
Did you want to play this, or did your teacher assign it to you?
I didn't know what to play at the start of the semester. So she said, "Do you want to play this?" And I said, "Sure." I wanted to play it eventually.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Let's approach this from what you want us all to take from your performance.
I don't know.
I can tell.
What do you want to hear from it?
Well,
You
That
don't want
sounds
to,
well.
you want to hear some kind of melody or something like that.
Yeah.
when you're finished playing, what do you want us all to feel? And I'm asking this because you probably have not thought about it,
No, I
right?
haven't.
And even, yes, to Tim's point, what do you want to feel when you're finished with it?
I want to feel relieved.
Really? Do you want us to feel relieved?
No.
What would let's talk about us first. What do you want us to feel?
That it was, I guess, for this one that it was relaxing. Like it didn't break your mind. Like
It took us to a place of relaxation, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now, how might we do that? I guess I'm implying you didn't do that.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, all right. We'll start there. So we didn't accomplish that. Any ideas?
The playing on this piano makes me up a bit like.
Right. Now that you know the piano, what if we started the piece again? Let's just do the introduction. Your goal is to have us all, our heart rates lowered by 4 measures.
I could play a video of it.
What's that?
I could play a recording of someone playing.
But then you wouldn't be doing it.
Feels already better.
What did you, do you feel it was different?
Yeah, a bit.
It was the second time playing, right? So you kind of
Yeah.
know what to expect. But what was different about it?
Yes, like I feel like it was more like smooth, but there were times like the first time that the note didn't sound as loud as I wanted it to, or it was too loud.
So the control was there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's part of it. Can we do it again? And let's try to, if there's, you know, in your mind, you're probably like, I would change this too. So can we try it? So let's see what that is.
Lots better.
Still
The left hand.
Every time you're getting slightly slower.
Yeah. I felt also.
Yeah. I think you have room to even be slightly slower. Still slow. And then are there any moments where you hear like one note leading to another note? Like, or do you hear the notes individually?
I don't know.
I think it would be good to think about the notes relating to one another, right? So stand up just a second. What I'm getting at here is like how you hear this C sharp. It's gonna go. Hear it. Keep your ear on it. To the A. Now to the F sharp. Ooh, that's a spicy note, right? And then to the. Don't rush through this. There's a lot going on here. This F sharp. Take time. softer than anything else. But hey, that was great. Doesn't that sound so much different?
Yeah. It was also more engaged, you know, it wasn't like sitting like on the
Yeah, we got more comfortable.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So, so it's hard to sit here for a long time and then get up and play. But that's why we do this, right? It's like, you know, there's a lot of analogies between sports and music, right? Sports, you get put in the game, you got to do it, right? It has to happen. Right? Whatever gets thrown your way, you have to react to. Sort of like with music, right? We want to be prepared, right? But the more you sit in front of that piano and think about what is it I want the audience to take away, just asking yourself that question is going to change the way you play. It's going to do more than a lot of. It's not a way to get away from practicing. Don't get me wrong, but if you're prepared for the piece up there, you ask yourself that question even before coming in today. That can be very helpful. So you're sitting at the piano, and the piano throws you a curveball. Ooh, I didn't like that sound. How do I really get right back into it and don't get off my game? That's where the analogy really comes into play. Good work.
Yeah, I don't have it memorized. And it's a brief arrangement of Over the Rainbow. Over the Rainbow from The Wizard of Oz.
How long have you been working on this?
A week.
Wow.
I'm like really behind the semesters.
Why?
Well, I guess like last semester I spent the whole time working on like a recital piece, and this time I've been working. I made it to book 2 for adults.
Victories, right?
So
Benchmarks.
yes.
Yeah. I mean, I'm asking you these questions and pushing you on it because when a lot of times in piano study, when we feel like we stagnate, is when we're actually the most progress is being made behind the scenes.
Okay.
So keep your chin up.
Okay.
Don't get to be too hard on yourself. You know, keep
Day by
being
day.
tenacious. Yes, but do the work day to day, and the results will come. Well, I'm going to ask you the same question. What do you want the audience to take away? How do you want them to feel?
Kind of a like melancholy delight.
Okay. All right. Play it again. And let's see what changes.
How far do you want me to go?
The whole thing.
Okay.
Otherwise, yeah.
Yeah.
going to.
Yeah.
What if there was no one here, and you're at home, no one's at home bothering you, and you're playing this? Why might you sit down and play it?
Just to relax.
I don't sense you're relaxed.
I-
You've had it a week, right?
I'm not relaxed here. I do find it
Yeah.
relaxing at home.
Okay, let me give you a few. I think
Yeah.
there's some other things that are more important to talk about than
Yeah.
this. Okay, you've got a shift here.
Yes. Yes.
So you all probably saw there's the introduction, right? And the second line of the introduction has an active pointer sign.
Yes.
I'm going to try to get her more comfortable here. But what we need to think about is this. So at the end of this measure,
Yeah.
this last note,
Yes.
anticipate that.
Okay.
So the way I leave beat 4 is like that.
Yes. Okay. That makes sense.
So can we just play it? And you don't hold it for the full beat
Right.
because your pedal's holding it. You just get up.
Right.
So let's just isolate this first. So right hand like that. So play to there. So I'm already leaving the note by the time I play it because there's such a large one.
Grab my in here.
Just your right hand's fine. So like this, and take your arm up, and kind of hey, since let's keep the rainbow idea here.
Okay.
Make
Go
the rainbow.
over.
Good
Okay.
job.
There we go.
Yeah, that rainbow was like across the horizon. Yeah, don't be in a hurry. Okay, now can you start from here and put the rainbow in right there?
Okay. Okay. Do you want me to try it again?
Yeah. It's something new, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's repeat it a few times. I've got you replaying the left hand here. Don't replay the left hand.
Don't. Okay.
Yeah. Just keep it out.
Oh, yes, I am doing that. Okay.
Oop, that one is like right there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I need to practice.
It's a little rigid, right?
Yeah. Popping off. Okay. I'll try to exaggerate it. Great. So it's
So
like
put your hand in position.
when I used to have a rubber band to snap myself into
Okay,
this.
now just take your hand and just let it fall. Let it rest. There we go. Okay. Now, hold on. I'm going to give you the next instructions. Just
Okay.
let it rest. There you go. Now, no. I'm going to move you.
Okay.
Let's try that again. So you just played that. Hold on. No, you're moving me.
I know.
So what am I doing with your arm?
Lifting it.
Yeah? But pay attention to where your elbow goes.
Oh, okay.
See now?
Okay.
Isn't that a beautiful shape? Doesn't it look natural? Let's start here again.
Okay.
Use 2 here.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Okay. Your elbow. Oh.
Oh, I
You're
know.
anticipating me. Yeah. So what's leading? Which joint leads the charge?
The wrist?
The wrist. Yeah.
The hip. I don't know.
Yeah. So do you feel how I'm pulling on the wrist, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Let's do it again.
Okay.
Let me keep doing it.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
One more time, me, and then I'm gonna take the bag
Okay.
off. Back here. Take the bag off. Can you do it?
Okay.
Same motion. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Now, can we try that in context. So when we get there,
Okay.
just imagine I'm leading you with that plastic bag.
And it sounds different when you see that.
Yeah.
over here.
Oh, I'm sure it does. Like when I play it, like I can hear the music, right, in my head, like where I want to go, and
Yeah.
I can hear mine being little. Yeah, it's clinky.
Well, I sense, you're listening, you know what's coming next. I'm wondering if you played this and I encouraged you to think exactly where you are rather than ahead.
Okay.
Be where your feet are,
Right. Okay.
right? Be where your fingers are at that moment, rather than worrying so much of what's coming ahead.
Okay.
The way we prepare, the way we practice should put us at ease that no matter where we are or where we get in that piece, we're going to be comfortable so we can be where we are.
Right. Okay.
You had the piece a week. You're not there yet. That's fine.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I could have told piano. Let's be honest.
Thank you. Some Philip glass, right?
Yeah.
Are you doing familiar with music?
I have the music,
Okay, that's fine.
which I don't know if I like if I just turn the page, it's going to be kind of.
I'll turn it for you.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that'd be
yeah.
awesome. Thank you.
So okay, sounds good. So this is Metamorphosis number 4. It's just stuff.
It's pretty much
Okay,
just
let's give him a hand.
repeats. Yeah.
Philip Glass repeats.
What's the
It's very repetitive. Yeah.
Right. Minimalism.
Right.
Glass, glass, glass.
What's that?
Philip, glass, glass.
I've not heard that before. That's funny. Did you choose this piece? Are you Philip Glass?
No.
Had you heard of Philip Glass?
She introduced me to it,
Yeah.
and I like it. I'm getting a little tired of it now, to be honest. But you know,
No, I think there's always an exercise in like just dealing with, right? And of course, trying to sell the piece in a way is they're very tricky, right? And sometimes it's helpful to have something really chaotic beforehand so that this can have even more of a type of impression. But yeah, I get the repetitive nature and that sort of feeling of maybe I'm ready to move on from it. You did not perform it that way though, so that's not why I bring it up. Were you nervous?
Sure, yeah, a bit.
Yeah. Were any of you not nervous? I was even a little nervous coming in today. It's part of it, right? It's part of it, yeah. And dealing with that. Did your nerves manifest themselves in any sort of way that that was unexpected?
I was tapping my foot like crazy, which is making the pedal kind of hard to hit. But
Has anyone ever had that feeling where like your body just does something and you can't get control of it?
Yes.
Yeah. And especially even when you're like applying pressure. Yeah, I get it. I thought for a moment you were doing this amazing flutter pedal thing. I was like, wow. I don't know. I mean, that's amazing, but I'm not sure we need it. on this
all
piece.
part of my
You had me
plan,
fooled
yeah.
for a second.
right.
Anyone have any strategies for like?
This is off the wall, but we're big opera fans, and I wouldn't have if I just listened to Philip Glass. Do you think it really works? The performance, and really, I like Philip Glass operas, and it's all this kind of music and stuff. And I've heard, I don't know if this is true or not, but there's lots of different ways to modulate between keys, right? But one of the ways is just repeat the new note enough times your brain will shift. And that's kind of what this does. It's kind of beating on you, and your brain then morphs go down in a different key.
When it makes you question, well, did I ever really hear anything else before that, right?
But in a big scale performance, if you let it work, it works.
Yeah. Well, there's a reason it sort of stood the test. So, jumping off that point, I think knowing where the notes change is really important, right? Like sometimes here, really following that D flat to the C flat and then back to C natural. Sometimes that gets a little hidden. So feeling or hearing all three notes pretty equally.
Yeah.
No melody, right? Just atmosphere. Right? So in that case, you don't need to worry so much about voicing. If you're really consistent with every single attack, the work is gonna really be done already. So can we start here? I guess your goal for this playthrough is to right hand equally play all three of these notes. Now, that becomes a challenge, right? Because the first chord is C minor, so we got black key in the middle, then it shifts to C minor, so then we have to change kind of the way we organize our hand. And then the next one's F minor in second inversion, so the black key's on top. And then what do we go to? D flat major, so the bottom comes down. So now it's two black keys, a white key, A. So keeping the touch consistent through those different configurations of your hand is tricky. So let's try it and let's listen for clarity in each of them.
Okay.
One thing that might help is we always want to think about what's coming next, right? So I'm looking at the way he's playing F minor. What's coming next? What chord is this? Do you know? It's okay if you do.
C sharp.
And harmonically D flat.
Oh, yeah, D
Yeah.
flat.
D flat major is coming up next. So the thumb has got to go from this C to D flat. That's a long distance if your finger's here, going to here. So what I suggest doing is actually shifting forward so that your thumb, you feel it? I've got it right there, and I can just go right there. I'm gonna try playing F minor right there. And that, where was my thumb? Let me show you again. Look at where my thumb is on the key. Where is it touching the key?
Just like the side.
Yeah, on my thumb. Where is the thumb on the key? Point to where the thumb made. Yes, exactly. Yep.
Okay.
And let's let the knuckle bridge get a little higher. Take your hand and turn it over. I'll go like this. Go again, flat. Yeah. Just take your hand and tip it over. This, we want to see all those knuckles. Now, kind of loosen it up a little bit, but fall back into the F minor position. There you go. That's better. Before it was like this.
Okay.
I saw your tendons, but not your knuckles.
Okay.
Yep. So keep space here. Yeah. So now play just an F minor chord. Now shift to D flat. See how close it is? That way, that's an easier shift than a big shift.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So thinking about where you need to be next is going to inform where you play on the key itself. Because many times our moves end up being much larger than what they need to be. The other thought is the flip side of this is the further you play ahead on the keys, it can feel harder to press those keys, right? And it is slightly harder. The more you do it, easier. The more adapted you get to it. Yeah, exactly. So now we're on D flat. Good. And then shift down. I wanted to talk slightly about this. Let me start here.
Okay.
I would keep the pedal for the entire harmony.
Yeah.
And then once there's a change, then shift the pedal slightly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. It's kind of a habit, I guess.
Oh, I had those habits too.
Mm-hmm.
We can talk, I think you came in after I might have talked about this, but remember this, what finger am I aligned with? 2, right? Were you here for this?
Oh, I think I came right when
I was doing this, okay.
Yeah.
So this is a great spot, a perfect way to look at this. So he's got this arpeggio. It's C minor, but it's G, C, E flat, G, and it just circles around those, right? So he has to play thumb on G, 2 on C, but the hand's really not going to do this, the arm's going to come down, right? So I'll stand up just a second and look over my shoulder here. So this is what the hand alignment would look like on the keyboard. So I'm not trying to expand my hand and hold it open, flex it to hold it open, to cover those notes. I want my hand to be relaxed, right? So look at my 5th finger is not on the G. It will get there. So here, I can draw a straight line from my thumb out my elbow. Now I'm aligned with 2, but my elbow has to adjust slightly, right? 3, and then 5, look where my elbow is. My elbow coming out helps me get my 5 here. So I never have to reach with 5. I just move my elbow out. Ah, it's right there. I never have to stretch or reach it. Now watch this part of my arm. And then this. this in two parts. Can we just play note by note and just check your alignment?
Okay.
Feel free to come look if you want to. Well, let's start with your thumb. So now, lean my way just a little bit. Lean towards me. No, on the bench. Just your upper body tilt towards me slightly.
Lean sideways.
Yeah. No, sit straight. Yeah. And now just lean this way. A little bit. Yep. So that gives you a little bit more space to move your arm here. So play your thumb. That's all. Now pivot to your second. Yep. Pivot out to your third. And out to 5.
Say that.
Yep. There you go. Yep. So where people tend to cut this off is they don't get their elbow back down enough to be behind their thumb, or out enough to be behind 5. So do you mind if I touch your elbow?
That's fine. Yeah.
Okay, so let's start in. Go ahead. You feel how far I'm moving your elbow?
Yeah.
Is that more than what you've been doing?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. Now, one other thing I want to point out. Yeah, so you're kind of doing this over-under thing. Since you're coming under here, your fourth finger is further out on the black key, away from the fallboard. On the way in, it will go in further. So it won't play in the same spot on the key. See that? So because I'm coming over, I actually go in a little bit there.
Okay.
And once you start integrating that into your playing, whenever you change a direction, and it's like 4-5-4, 3-5-3, that the repeated finger, 3 or 4, always is in a different spot on the key. Most likely it's towards the fallboard. There you go. Does that feel easier?
Yeah, a little bit easier.
What about 2? 2 seems to be in the same spot.
2 can be forward too, but it's more about the change of direction. It helps set that down.
Okay.
Try it faster. If you can get over to your thumb, like this alignment. So if you can imagine a straight line from here to your elbow. Yeah. This joint's a little further out on you than it is on me. So that will disrupt it. That's okay. Yeah, that's good. That's much better. It's better. It's a lot to think about and incorporate, right? And sometimes it's like putting the cart before the horse, like the movement before the sound. We always want the sound to be the thing that we focus on first. But sometimes we do have to step back from that and think about, hey, what's the action? What's the physical gesture that I need to use here to really capture or to achieve the sound I'm after? Great. The other thing in your technique that I'm looking at right now, can you take your hand? Let's try one thing. Sorry, play your thumb. Now, can you lift your hand as a unit and just drop to 2? Lift as a unit, drop to 3. Come behind, drop to 5. Yep, just come behind. Yep, a little more out with your elbow. Got it. Drop your arm and hand as a unit. Oh, don't isolate. Just lift your arm. I'll do that slowly again. So see when I play 2, my hand moves as a unit. I don't go like that. Take your thumb. Drop. Give me those knuckles again. Yeah. Yep. Out behind your elbow. Out behind your elbow.
His wrist is getting really low.
Stay on the corner of your thumb. We're back to the corner of the thumb. Come full circle. Oops. Yeah. So a lot of times, again, we tend to think fingers. But if we move this as a unit and keep it as a unit as much as possible, it's much more efficient. rather than finger. You can hardly tell me, see me moving fingers, right? It's because it's organized, all of this is organized behind. All right, getting in the weeds here, but hey, thanks for a great class all. Any wrap-up questions that you all have? Is that a thank you for question? Thank you. Absolutely. Hey, it was a pleasure. I'm glad I got to hear you all.